everybody.
Hey! Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are here. Well, I brought in our guest right away because we just couldn't have it any other way. But
Exactly.
but I just want to make sure, can everyone hear us? Everyone around the block say hey.
Hey,
Show
girl,
some
hey.
love. Show some love. Show some love.
Fantastic. Well, it's really exciting, friends. This is our first episode of season 3.
We got to
Yes,
do our
it is.
intro.
I know.
That is true.
Getting rusty. Welcome to another episode of Behind
The
Beauty.
With special guest.
Yes.
Tisha
None
Thompson,
other.
Hello.
From
owner, founder, goddess, beauty
Aw.
brains behind
yes.
LYS Beauty.
Hello.
Can we get the sound
Thanks
effects, Alicia?
Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Got to get our sound effects.
Yes, we can. Listen, who
All
do
of
we
them.
have tonight?
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I really appreciate it. This is really exciting. I'm so happy to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. And
We're so excited.
we were so thrilled to learn that you were able to come on because Tisha just had a major launch last month. The drop happened on February. I'll never forget it. Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Love yourself, honey. Yes, on Valentine's Day. What other day to do it than on Valentine's Day?
And then we were literally in her inbox like, hello, how are you? You know you don't know us, but can you come on our show?
I honestly, I just was so humbled that you even consider me. Seriously, I was like, why do they want to talk to me? Like, why? But yeah, no, this is awesome.
The accomplishment.
What you're doing. Yes. Go ahead, Alicia. Go ahead.
Please. I mean, the accomplishments that we have all spoken about in our videos. And it's just a tremendous feat that you have achieved simply because this is huge. The first Black-owned clean beauty brand at Sephora.
Mm-hmm.
A huge retailer.
Yeah.
What new brand gets to launch at Sephora that has no, traditional history?
Right.
Just groundbreaking, trailblazer at her finest. And must I add, she is a beloved Sarah. So of course you'd be a trailblazer. Of course.
Naturally.
But before we get on with the show, we do want to make a quick announcement. Kelsee's coming back on. She's having some Wi-Fi issues. So for season 3, we're switching it up just a bit. We're not going to be doing weekly episodes like we normally do. We're going to be doing them about once a month or so. Kelsee girl is back.
I'm back and I'm better. I don't know where you.
Oh.
It's, you know what? Take it away, Chelsea. Take it away.
Yes. So we decided we're going to be doing our shows about once a month. So April, we're going to take a little pause. If you don't know, I am close to having another child. It's within a matter of days. So we're going to take off April. We'll be back in May, and then we'll be doing our shows monthly. So just stay tuned. Of course, we'll let you know when we come back, but we just wanted to let you know so you won't be looking for us each week and wondering what happened. We're still here. We just got to navigate some waters, and then we'll be back.
Chelsea is building her tribe at home in her third household, and she's got time to build human life.
Yeah, there you go. Takes time.
There we go.
You need that time to focus on you.
Indeed.
Yeah,
we'll be still around. We'll still connect. We'll be on the Instagram. So if you friends have anything to say or to message us about ideas or what have you, please send it.
We're still working behind the scenes for sure.
Most definitely. We're not pausing the admin, if you will.
Yes, the admin will keep going.
Admin is
We're just
going.
pausing the shows.
Work never stops. It never
Okay.
stops.
Right.
It
The
does
notebook's
not.
always
So,
open.
I'm sure Kelsee will pop back on when she can. But Alicia, you want to
Yes.
take off with the first question?
Absolutely. Thank you, health girl.
Of course, Miss
Tisha.
Alicia.
Tisha, we're dying to know, and I read some of this on a lot of articles that I've read before I wanted to dive in filming. But what made you decide to transition from being a professional makeup artist, because that is a part of your portfolio, to being an executive at PUR Cosmetics to creating your own brand?
It's an interesting story, a long one, somewhat, but it actually started as makeup was my creative outlet. It's something that I enjoyed doing. It was a passion of mine, really expressing my creativity. But, I come from military parents, strict background. You're going to go to college, you're going to get a real job. And so this was before makeup was, this was before it was romance the way the industry is today, and where you can really truly see a way to make, a nice living in makeup. Before it was just kind of like an artistic kind of, at least my older school parents, that's how they viewed it. And so I was pushed, go to college. So I actually went to college for finance and business. And a lot of people don't maybe know that about me. So makeup was my part-time job. My full-time job was in the corporate setting doing accounting. And so I actually transitioned when I moved back to Atlanta with my husband. I was working, I applied to an ad and started working for a company that I thought was a branding agency. The name of the company was Astral Brands. I thought was a branding company. And at the time they had all kinds of commodities and different things. So not just beauty, but once I started, and I took that position to do accounting, and I was just doing makeup as a freelancer on the side. And when I got there, literally, I realized that they actually owned makeup brands and that they had makeup brands. And the first day on the job, I'm like going to HR. I'm like, I think there's a mistake. Like, I need to be in the marketing department. Like, they're like, ma'am, you just started here. You need to like simmer down, do the job you were hired to do. So I actually worked there for like 18 months in the accounting department as a staff accountant. And, it's amazing because I have that foundation, background, but I applied every time there was an opportunity to get on the marketing side because that's what I did. I did makeup. I felt like I had the opportunity to shift over and I could add a lot of value, right? And so essentially I actually took a demotion. I applied for a marketing coordinator position and just kind of rose to the ranks from there. And that's how I built my corporate side of my career in the makeup industry. And it was just kind of like a 15-year span of, from like literally doing every job of, schlepping stuff for events and setting up stores to, eventually opening retailers and just getting promoted throughout the years and landed as a senior VP. And that role, allowed me to do marketing, product development, and business dev. And so that's kind of how I got from makeup artist to corporate. So really, in my opinion, it's kind of like fate, right? It was like all by design. It's so random that I applied to this job doing a totally different job that landed me to where I am now. And I'm just grateful for it, honestly. So that's how I got to the corporate side of makeup. Yeah,
Awesome.
right place at the right time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely so. So we have to talk about, first of all, the name, Love Yourself Beauty, and this packaging. So what inspired the name? All of the triangular packaging. I mean, it's lovely and it's different and it's unique. So there has to be something kind of special behind it, right?
Yeah, totally. Because like the issue I had when I was an executive in the space is there were very few executives that looked like me. I'd go to trade events, I'd be in the space, and we were predominantly in the clean side, and that's how I transitioned to clean because the brands that I was under at the time all they had in their portfolio were clean brands. And so that's how I really got married into getting the knowledge and the insight and the information, having access to manufacturing and suppliers that only focused on clean. So that's how I got educated through it. And I'd go to these, events and do these marketing campaigns and all this stuff. And I would literally feel like out of place, right? Like, here I'm this plus size Black girl. I'm sitting here like trying to find my place, and where are the other people that look like me, and where's the development, the creativity that is focused on me. And so I was just like, no. And that's where as I moved up the ladder and had a seat at the table, that's where I was able to raise the flag and say, we need to do more, here, and add more diversity and inclusivity, and actually have the ability and relationships with suppliers to say, y'all need to do better, and being able to create products for deeper skin tones. So when you have that ability to have that seat, it allows you to make that. So that's what the catalyst was for me. After years and years of kind of dealing with that, I just wanted to step away and create my own table, if you will, and just say, hey, I want to have an opportunity to just create a brand that allows me to thrive as, the queen I am, who I am, right? And tell everyone else the queens that they are and who they are. Like, you don't have to feel like you have to compromise to fit in. You can be who you are. And the industry has been serving us for so long this notion of what the society standard of beauty is. And so I've been on this mission for a while, with even my previous roles, of embracing who you are, loving who you are, using Black creatives, using, plus size women in campaigns, like just making it a point to allow people to be who they are. And so when I came up with this line, I just knew I wanted to take that as a part of my entire ethos. And so LYS means love yourself. It essentially is this whole conversation of be unapologetically you. You don't have to answer to anybody about anything about you. That's you. Be you. Love who you are, kind of thing, So that's what Love Yourself stands for. That's the mission. The packaging, I wanted to be purpose driven with that as well. I wanted it to be like that nod that bridged everything together. And the Delta symbol means change. So it's for us, it's about changing this clean space. Like, we've been served this whole notion of what clean really, who can be represented when you talk about clean. And so for me, I wanted to have a brand that, or, this packaging and this messaging as a nod to that. Same with the product names, right? All the names, worthy and courage and kindness, strength. These are all reminders, gentle reminders to ourselves. When you're using the product every single day, this is that reminder to you about how amazing you are and how you need to love who you are, and reminder of all the amazing qualities that you possess, and don't let any outside influences change that. So the change is a double nod. It's a changing the industry. We're trying to be trailblazers in making a difference and impacting, both with price point, formulations, like the whole thing. We're just being a disruptor there. So changing that, but also reminding you that you have the ability to change how you feel about yourself. You don't have to be influenced by other people or other things. You have the ability to love who you are for who you are. So that's the whole purpose behind it. And it's something that's really, really, really been a passion of mine for a long time. And so I'm just glad that I was able to take the brand and create a whole entire brand around that whole mission, not just a campaign, if you will. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I mean, I didn't get a chance to say all of this in the beginning, but honestly, what you are doing is just so special, because right, the narrative of what is supposed to be, or what has been the standard of beauty, has been the same imagery for such a long time, like basically forever. Ever since the beginning of makeup artistry and brands, it's been the same. Now with the explosion of the clean industry, I have never seen a campaign with somebody that looks even remotely like me. So the fact that you made such you made that a priority to showcase diversity, I just think is amazing. And I am just so inspired by you, seriously. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm inspired by you all too. And It's amazing.
Oh my God.
And then too,
passionate about, because you can tell when somebody is just doing something because it's what's on trend and what is hot right, and when it's literally your purpose and what you are driven to do. So I love that. Chelsea, what were you about to say?
I was like, and then you took it a step further and you made clean crazy affordable. I mean,
yeah,
I've got some clean products right on over there that I could buy almost 4 of your products with for the price that I paid for them. So I'm like, personally, just like, how did you, first of all, do that? You don't have to answer that, but you really kept everyone in mind, not only with the diversity of your brand, but I want everyone to be able to have a chance to try this. And if I make it this price point, I'm excluding a whole group of people. But if I make it this price point and keep the quality and add the diversity, like,
yes, and that was the whole purpose. I really felt like a whole group of people were being underrepresented and left out of the conversation. And price point matters, right? It is an important and price point with something that you are, what's the right way to put this? Something that you don't feel like is just being shoved together and forced on you, and that's kind of thrown together. It's like, this is some quality for a good price. Like, you can actually feel good about it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm giving you some cheap stuff. You know, this is quality.
I mean, this glass right here is not cheap at all.
Exactly.
And I have paid upwards of $70+ for a foundation with plastic packaging. And this is $22.
Exactly.
When I was checking out on the website, I had gotten everything. I checked out on your website. I wanted the packaging. I was like, everything, because my total, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was much more.
Right.
It's the thing.
Right. I did the same
thing. Like, wait a minute. Is this right? Is it missing some digits?
Right.
The product you get is astonishing. I mean, this is a blush.
It is a lot of blush. It is a lot of look. I'm thinking, do I need to reduce the size of the blush? Is anybody going to buy another blush?
I mean, listen, I've been using these nonstop. I wear 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah.
You got it.
That right.
Okay.
Same. I've never worn more blush now than ever before, because I'm like, I'm determined to get through this pan. Like, I will get through
it. Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
That's another that we have. So you basically came out with bang. So you came out with foundation, primer, a lip oil, blush, bronzer, and powder. How did you just, you were going to come out with all of those products at one time? What was that decision factor? And basically, what was this the original plan? Or were you like, I love this so much, I couldn't possibly not come out with this at the same time? So how did you decide to come out with these products all together?
So I will tell you, I'm a product junkie, and innovation is like what I am obsessed with. And I went from a senior exec role creating 50 products a year to, like, now when I started doing this in my mind, I was like, I just want to develop stuff. So now I'm like, I just want this and I want that. And when I realized, like, I knew I had to stop. Stop. First of all, you only got so much money. Chill out, calm down, simmer down. But I knew that I wanted to have a full face at least, or a close to a full face, to really be able to do that fresh face, no makeup look. So I knew that there was just a requirement that I was going to have to do. Plus, I wanted to be strategic a little bit and come out of the gate strong so that I could acquire, distribution a little faster. Sometimes when you're a color brand and you just have one SKU, like, maybe you just focus on lip, or maybe you just focus on cheek, it makes it harder, right, to kind of, shape the brand. You've seen it happen, but when you can tell a full story with a couple products, it makes it a little bit more, a little bit easier for the retailer, you know, to do that. So I knew strategically that also early on when I started development process, I knew with my past experience and how retailers really value having some sort of an assortment. It can be small. Skincare brands can do 1 SKU, maybe 2, but when you're a color brand, you know, they do like to have some sort of a storytelling moment. And so I knew it would be a little challenging with 1 SKU. So that was essentially what it was, but it all stemmed from the foundation. That was the first SKU. And for me, that's really my experience, is complexion. So I kind of really focused and developed as I learned innovation and product development for so many years. Complexion was really where my strength lied. And it allowed me to really then say, okay, I want to make sure my star product is the item I'm most passionate about. You know, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I did do a major launch in the industry with my former brand I was with at PUR. I did a 100 shade foundation launch. I'm not sure if you all have ever tried that product before, but for me, that was the catalyst behind that was the lack of undertones within the industry. And I really wanted to master that because it's something that I just cringed every time a foundation launch would come out. I would, as a developer, I'd cringe, right? And I was just like, well, just do it, show them how it's done, you know, kind of thing. And so that's why I did the 100 shades, because it was challenging to really do it otherwise, to have light, medium, tan, dark, deep, really servicing every category and not offer the shades in such an opaque formula, because that's a very full coverage formula. So what I wanted to do with my, you know, listen, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do a 100 shade foundation as a first launch. Financially, it was not going to happen. So I said, you know, what can I, you know, I want to make sure I'm still very purposeful and meaningful. So I needed the undertones to be represented. So I need to still be able to live in that lane, which is really important to me, but stay true to complexion, because that's where my heart is. I just love all things complexion. I mean, I probably own, I don't even want to say how many hundreds and hundreds of foundations just in the industry that I buy, because I love all foundations, not just my own. But then also I get sent so many formulas from suppliers. And so I'm constantly trying complexion. It's just, I love it. I love all things related to the complexion. So I knew I had to focus there.
I don't blame you. I think as of recently, I don't know, Chelsea, you might have realized this too, but there have been a lot of complexion things releasing at the beginning of the year. And when you get a really great complexion product, it just inspires you to try others and just to get a little more creative with your makeup application and your routine. So
I agree.
Friend.
Thank you.
Because in all honesty, if your base is off, everything else looks off. And that is one of the most frustrating things to, I know for me, I am a foundation junkie. Like when I see a new foundation coming out, I'm like, I'm intrigued.
Same.
And it's frustrating when you go into something thinking this should be good or this should be great. And then you get it on and you're just like, who said this was good? Like, did they test this? And then, of course, when you can't find the undertone that matches you, so it's like, well, this shade, I know for me, a lot of my problems are I'll find a shade that tends to be right and it's undertone, but then it's too warm in the shade. So I either go really warm in one direction or I'm going to go extremely casket ready because it's just no in between. And even with your brand, so I have 2 shades. I have TG5 and TG6. And TG5 was a little too light, but the undertone was right. So I was still able to make it work. And by the time everything was done, it didn't look so like casky. I know that's not a word, but you know, it didn't look like a casket. My favorite casket. I like to make it work.
I think I know what you're saying though. And that's the thing too with a formula like that that's so lightweight, right? It allows your skin to breathe through. So you can, you know, manipulate it with the sponge or with your brush to make it not be so opaque. So you can have that. That's why I promote it as a light to medium coverage, because if you go in with say 2.5, 3.5 pumps in that range, you're going to get full opacity with it. But if you just do one pump and blend it out with your beauty blender, it's going to be almost like a tinted moisturizer, right? So you can get that light, but it just gives you a little bit of something to where if you're running your errands or doing your day, if you don't really want that full kind of glam. So I wanted a formulation that could be a little versatile in that regard versus some formulas, and I've done those and I probably will do one in the future, that are more on the medium to full range, that it's a little more challenging to sheer out. And you do require more shade range, a larger shade range in order to service a wider group of people, because it's harder to manipulate and blend out and let your skin shine through. So that's why 35 shades is where I landed, because it's such a sheer base. Whereas if I go more on that fuller coverage range, more mattifying range, which I will do eventually, there will have to be more shades than 35, because it's going to require, in order to do what I would want to do to make sure I service a lot of skin tones within the different undertones, it's just hard to do that effectively without a higher shade count. So somewhere in that 50 range is where you're going to have to be, 45, 55, somewhere in there. You got to be in there to really do it right when you have those opaque formulas. But yeah, I think definitely I'm excited about where it is. And hopefully everybody's loving it.
Yes,
yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And the undertone thing, I mean, I love that you're touching on that, and that is something that you really, really were particular about, because I do notice a lot of times for medium complected people, or medium deep, or medium dark, whatever group I'm in, I feel like we just get one undertone. And you know, Chelsea and Alicia and I, we all talk about this all the time, how we're in the same little family, but we all are different colors and we all have different undertones. And for me, I'm golden neutral. Yeah, it's so hard to find golden neutral. So I think that you did a really good job.
You have a little bit of olive too. Like, I'm sure when you in the summer, you probably go a little bit more, because like I can see, like, my sister's skin tone is very similar to yours too. And that's how, you know, depending on, you know, if she gets a tan or not, then she could maybe skew a little bit more olive. And that's the thing, everybody's undertone is different. And a lot of people a lot of brands don't take that into consideration. They'll just have, you know, 3 tan shades and they may all be in the same, you know, undertone. So for me, I wanted to give options, which is good. So still work to do. It's not perfect, but I'm just a perfectionist. So I'm going to always feel like it's never perfect. But I think it's definitely something I'm very proud of with our first launch.
What shade do you wear? Because I know inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. I am DG3. I actually have it right here.
Nice. That's a beautiful color.
And I actually have been doing the underpainting method, or the under blushing kind of method lately, just because going back to, I'm determined to get through my pan of blush. So I put it on underneath, and then I put it on top as well. And so I find the DG3 is a little bit more olive, more of the olive shade. So in the golden range, you have more of it's will steer, and some of the shades have more of an olive undertone in it. And DG3 is kind of one of those shades that have a little bit more olive in it, pulls olive, but it really balances really nicely when I do the underpainting method, so that it just blends really good. And I don't know, I'm just obsessed with it. So I'm DG3. I can actually also do TG7. So if I do no blush and all that stuff, and just kind of like no sun, no exposure to sun. I actually recently went to Miami for my husband's birthday, so I got a little bit of sun. But with no sun, with my pre-6-month quarantine, hadn't left the house skin, I was TG7. And then when I'm in the sun, when your girl's golden, I get my, you know, dream of Cabo eventually one day soon, hopefully in a year. She's DG6.
Okay.
Yes.
I love it. Alicia and Chelsea, what shades do y'all wear? I have TG6 and TN6, but I'm gonna get TG5 because I think that's like gonna be my shade.
You will get TG5 today. It's probably at your PO box, Missy.
Wow. TN3. I like TN3 because it's neutral, but it's not dull. It doesn't drop me.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It's which again, you know, neutrals, like neutral doesn't have to be flat.
Right.
And I feel it's, you know what I mean? And it tends to get a little flatty flat when it's in the medium.
A little, sometimes a little gray.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That's
it's appreciative, friend, that you developed an exquisite neutral undertone. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so kindly.
I'm wearing a combination of TG5 and TG6 because TG6 is a hair too warm and TG5 is a little light.
Yeah.
And one of you all suggested TN6, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm going to try that one to see if I can get a nice little balance.
It's coming your way. Yes.
Oh, Tisha, so sweet.
So while we're on this formulation conversation, your ingredient list is crazy unique. For instance,
Yes.
I have yet to find a powder with niacinamide in it. That's not an ingredient that you commonly see in a powder.
Right.
So what inspired your choice of what it goes into your products? Because like Kelsee said, and we've been talking about this whole time, we've heard of clean. There's some common ingredients that we find in clean, but yours is just, it's just different.
Yeah. So for me, I wanted to definitely take a skin first approach. And I feel like with formulating, it's just like, you know, when we make a recipe and do all this stuff, you got 100% of X, and you can choose to load it with a bunch of unnecessary things, or you can put in ingredients that have benefits. And so for me, with clean, it's very important to make sure that if you have the opportunity to incorporate in a formulation, you know, ingredients that will improve your skin over time, or that have a healthy benefit, or that are good for you overall. It's better than some random filler ingredient that people put in the products that are just, that have no common or responsibility to the formulation at all. It's just fillers, right? And so you'll see that a lot in a lot of products. So for me, I don't want to use any products in my, or any ingredients that may have any known harm or potentially harm to the skin, or increase any skin concerns or irritation. So, you know, the very thing that some people are trying to cover up, the very thing that some people are wearing makeup because they have or are experiencing, I don't want my products to be, you know, an attributing factor to those issues. So I try where responsibly and where possible to make sure that we do our due diligence and our research on our ingredients, so where we're putting the very best things that we possibly can that are going to nourish and improve your skin, or not make your skin worse for things you've already got going on, right? And that's what I want. I want people, when you wear, you know, there's nothing worse. I used to wear makeup that broke, like the minute I put it on, I could tell this is going to break me out. We've all been there. We've already been itchy, right? And sometimes you just deal with it. You're like, this is all the options I have. This is all that's available and readily available to me. This is all I can afford, you know. And so for me, I just wanted to, you know, to go the extra mile, and allow my consumers to have that confidence that at the end of the day, they're doing their very best to put the best ingredients that they are able to put in this formulation and give it to me at an affordable price. And so that's how we approach our formulation. That's how I approach it. And so we don't use things like talc. We just don't, we don't use it, you know. And some people may not have an issue with talc, but it has been linked to cancer. And so, and it also has been linked to, potentially, affect your hormones and different things like that. Like we just don't use those sort of ingredients. We don't use silicone. That's just a choice that I choose to not do, because I personally break out when I use products that have silicone, or have had issues with products that have a large amount of silicone, or certain types of silicones. And so I'm just like, I'm just not going to use silicone. The technology allows me to not. There's it's a pain in the butt, but there's ways to get around it. And so that's the challenge I'm willing to take, because I want to be comfortable in the products I put on. We don't use fragrance. We don't use pegs. Like we're really strategic on the sorts of preservatives we use. So, it makes challenges. It does present a lot more challenges, right? We have a lower shelf life on some of our products, and there's certain things that, we have to deal with, but I'm not putting preservatives in the product that potentially are not the best for your skin, or could potentially be irritating to the skin. So that's just that's just my personal decision on formulation. And that's kind of how I've kind of learned and come along the way. And my skin has never been better. Like, the thing about it is, when you've had bad issues with your skin, when you've had terrible issues with your skin, you don't want to relive that, right?
Right.
I actually, I'm not narcissistic, but I love when people compliment my skin. I love that. I love when people say you have nice skin. I love not having to have to wear makeup at all. I love that I can feel confident. I always throw my brows on. I'm not that confident, but she always puts on a brow. But I love that I can just go out the house without my foundation and feel good. Like, she's got good skin. I feel good about, and so for that, I'm not going to put anything that I possibly know could disrupt that. So that's what I try to do. And so that's the approach I take in formulating. And so, it's just my approach. It's one way or the other. And some people, their skin is, I don't know. It depends. I just want to do as best as I can. I don't profess to know everything. I'm learning every single day. And there's, things that some people educate me on, which is so awesome. People email me, does it have soy? Is it made from corn? Is it all these really awesome things? Like, a lot of things, are important to people that really focus on their skin. And so it's important for me and I take all that feedback from consumers and improve, because nobody's perfect and nothing's perfect. So I just want to, do better and do as best as we possibly can. So that's the approach. And that's kind of the reason for why we've kind of done that. And just going back to your question on the specific types of ingredients, like, I also wanted to focus on certain skin concerns. So for me, I really felt like you see a lot of anti-aging in the industry. You see a lot about anti-aging. It's very important. It is very important. But for me, it's not my number one common concern. I have more concerns with large pores or, breakthrough shine, oily skin, hyperpigmentation major. I have acne prone skin. So if I have a breakout, it'll scar. It's more likely to scar. Probably because I pick at it, but it's more likely to scar. And so, So having those sort of concerns be at the forefront in my formulation. So that's why I also picked a lot of the ingredients I invested in, because I wanted to also go towards skin concerns that I know, Black women and men deal with more prevalently than not. And so that was a little bit of the catalyst of why I selected certain ingredients, because I knew that they would target more of the concerns that affect people of color more than you would generally see in the clean space. It's typically focused around anti-aging. And that's not so much the major concern for me, although it does have that benefit as well.
Well, we appreciate it, because I know skincare, over the past few years, have really come to understand the importance of it. And nothing worse. I remember sitting down to do a video, and I was like, yes, my skin, I don't have any active breakouts. And I put a foundation on, and by the time I even got to turn my camera on, I just had a cluster of just acne all across my chin. And I was like, all this hard work for nothing. And so then we go back into, this rehabilitative stage of trying to get your skin right. And it's like, as much as you love makeup, then you've got these products that just actively work against your skincare. So it's always nice when you're like, great. Yeah. This is not going to hopefully bother my skin.
And it's so much more too. It's like, it also, is like how much water you drink. That's why I'm like constantly drinking my water all day long, because that's really important for keeping my skin clear as well. Because I notice, like, if I go a day where I don't, meet my water quota, like, I'll start to see an impact in my skin. So it's kind of that whole well-rounded kind of thing. It's not just the products you use either, but yeah, I definitely, try the very best that I can to try to at least help consumers who may not necessarily be thinking about that. Sometimes people just buy stuff and pick up stuff. They don't really care what's in it, honestly. And that's okay. I think so. For us, it's like we love those customers. So because we hope, and it's almost like that moment where you just kind of fall back and somebody's there to catch you. Like that's kind of how we want to be for those customers who really just at the end of the day, I just want something that's cool, that looks cool, that works, that makes my skin look good, that, is flawless. Or maybe it's because such and such said it was an amazing product. I'm going to give it a try. And the ingredients may not be a big deal to them, but they can just kind of have that slight little level of comfort knowing we got you kind of thing, So, so that's kind of our approach.
I love it. Trust fall.
kind of touched on this already, explaining that releasing a lighter coverage is a little more forgiving, especially as a new brand, with the budget, right? Sure, we all would love to release 100 shades of everyone gets a shade on the first launch. But
exactly.
You get a shade.
You get a shade. You get your own. But for this launch, what was the process like in selecting your 35?
Right.
30 or 35?
It's 35.
Okay.
It was hard. It really was hard. It's such a tough thing because you don't want you when you're having to make such a selection, you're like, ooh, well, if I don't do, because like that's the thing where if I didn't do TN5, but I did TN6, but I'm like, ooh, do I do the 5? Do I do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, so meaning do I go a little lighter and match the tonality of the TG, but make it the neutral, or do I stick with the 6? And so it was really me kind of trying to put a puzzle piece together. And also with the thought process of if it is successful, I can maybe add some more of these shades if I get by popular demand, but also kind of to like, knowing that, okay, if I do this shade, it can sheer out and that I think it would work well. So it's just kind of using that logic to try to figure out what would make the most sense. Also kind of taking some past knowledge of knowing, what did I see most people gravitating to in terms of selling with my former life? Where were the typical range, like shades that you typically would see the most, people focusing on. And like honestly, the TG and the DG is kind of like our most popular sellers. So those ranges, and then I just wanted to just try to be, it was really hard. And I had, whether it was my sister or, line sisters, some other friends in the industry, just trying things and which color worked for you. And then just trying to balance. It's such a balancing act. It's like playing the lottery, honestly. It could be seriously because there's always going to be that handful of people that are like, it just wasn't my perfect match. And when you have, such an amazing, breadth of, just humans that have amazing shades across this world, we're all unique and different. It's tough. So, but I think we kind of got it, but I'm definitely taking feedback. And if anybody's having like challenges with shades or trying to find their shades, the suggestion I'm working on some sampling sizes too. So maybe people can have travel versions, but I just told, one customer said to me, she's like, because she DM'd me and she was like, should I get this color, this color? And I was like, she was one of those ones, right, that was right on the fence. And I'm thinking, okay, send me a picture. She sent me a picture. I go, okay, send me one without makeup. So she sends me another picture without makeup. I'm like, oh, is the light, so it's like, she was one of those ones on the fence, even had me stumped, right? And I'm like, and I said, well, I would go with this one. And she goes, you know what? It's $22. I'm just going to get them both. I was like,
and that's what I'm saying too. I'm like,
and that's me. Like,
you made the price point to where you can buy two for the standard average price of a traditional one foundation.
Exactly. And I was like, and you're going to get free
and
shipping.
you get more products.
Yeah, it's well, one fluid ounce. 1 fluid ounce,
Yeah,
which
one
is the
fluid ounce.
it's the common. That's the common. But yeah, I think it is in that range where it's good. But I think once we come out with more complexion items, I think that'll help, as well. We'll see. Then you can just put on a little something, something, and then with a little something, something, and then a little something, and then be good.
Well, I
Because
mean,
we're all waiting.
take it away. Last question, which is great segue.
Great segue.
Yeah.
Last question. Y'all, before we get into the last question, I want you all to start getting your questions together, all the viewers behind the beauty viewers. And make sure you all are thumbs up in this video while you're here. But what is next for LYS Beauty? What's next?
That's such a hard question. There's a lot of things cooking in the kitchen. But I would say that you'll see more complexion things, more glowy things, more creamy things. Maybe maybe some, maybe a little bit of something like that, and, a little bit of this and that. So, things are coming.
A little this, a little that, a little dabble.
But we'll
be posted.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. I mean, I will say that my vision and goal is to be a full skincare and makeup line. So I want to have skincare. I want to have the full makeup line. Like, I want to have kind of it all kind of thing. So we'll get there eventually, but we'll see how it goes.
Can we get a little more nosy and get maybe an estimate as to when the next drop might be?
Definitely we'll have some more drops this year for sure. So definitely for sure this year. I just don't really know exact, and I'm not trying to tell you, it's honestly not finalized yet.
Right.
The unromantic side of this business, the operational side, is daunting for anybody who wants to start their brand. Just that process is a lot. And so right now we have issues with like port congestion and, taking, 2 months to get things off of containers coming in to get your packaging. And just, so all of that's causing like these unforeseen delays that I know I'm not the only brand dealing with that, but that's kind of where it's like, don't tell anybody a date, because until it's in your warehouse and you actually physically have the product, just kind of wait, because I don't want to disappoint people.
We understand.
We are not going to be disappointed. We are here. We are ready. We are excited. I mean, everything that you have done has been amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited. I love you all. And just for having me is, I'm just still in awe. I'm totally like just in total awe.
Please, people need to know.
You are doing it. Yes, you are making history out here.
You really are, because I remember when I was looking at all of your claims for each product, I was like, now this brand is coming out with a whole bunch of high claims. Like, they're not just like, hi, we're just a little brand that's just here. You're like, bust open the door.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, now you know. And I love it because
I wanted to come correct, because especially having something like Sephora, that is a major retailer to have. Are you guys still there? You guys got frozen.
We got you.
We're here.
Still there? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So what I was saying was having like Sephora, right? I just also wanted to make sure that what we came to the table with and brought allowed this kind of breaking through this glass ceiling, if you will, is kind of what's happening, to now allow so many other Black-owned brands to come into the space, especially clean, and be able to bring more brands in with us. And so I didn't want, sometimes it's kind of like, well, I don't know if anybody's buying that, or I don't know if anybody wants that. I wanted to make sure, like, we're going to bring something. It's amazing to see everybody supporting and getting behind it, because it's showing the retail, landscape. This is an area that people want and that are demanding. And so now all these other brands that have been doing an amazing job who just haven't had their day in the light can get an opportunity too, because they can say, you know what, customers are spending their hard-earned money to support these brands. They want it. Now let's bring more brands to service more of this demand. And it just allows us all to flourish, which is really exciting. So I'm just really happy that I can be a part of the catalyst of helping bring that impact to the space. And so I'm just excited about that. Really, honestly, I am.
Me too. The support is real. And we talk about that a lot on, our platforms individually, like how much support goes, how far it goes.
Mm-hmm. It does.
I'm a little frozen. That's why I always am like, can y'all see me?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So Jess, we wanted to quickly, because we don't want to take up too much of Tisha's time. We've already met the hour mark. So if you have time, just to spend a little bit so we could grab a few questions from our friends.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm having a lot of fun. So I have nowhere to be other than my rugrats to bed in a little bit. So I'm good.
Yeah. I love it. Here is a fun question. Hey, Charles. What's going on, friend? Can you explain how niacinamide can impact the skin in a powder product that is applied following a liquid foundation?
Great question.
Yeah, so the niacinamide is really good for the pores. So it's going to help with keeping that oil and shine at bay throughout the day. So what's really awesome is applying that inside on the powder on top of your foundation. That's where it's going to really help long term be able to do that. So when you're wearing that powder, you can just be assured that it has that ingredient in there that's going to help attribute to keeping the pores, the shine down, keeping the pores at bay, keeping that oil control. And that's essentially the rationale behind putting it also in there. A lot of people are like, if an ingredient is able to be put in a liquid, can it be put in a powder? Sure. The technology does allow them to be able to utilize some of these same ingredients in powder form as you would have in liquid form. And niacinamide is one of them. So it's a vitamin. It's a vitamin B3. It allows you to, be able to still get some of those same benefits. And it's, on top of the foundation, in addition to, it's in the primer as well. But not everybody wants to wear the primer. So it just depends. It's really more of an oily skin type targeted primer. So if you're not an oily skin type, but you still may wear powder for your shine control. You may touch up with your powder later in the day for shine. So that's why I wanted it to have both of those options.
I actually did a comparison in my most recent video of your setting powder and one of my favorite powders that's almost $30 more. And I was shocked because yours actually concealed my pores and blurred my pores more than the other one. And I was like,
yeah, that was the major benefit. I wanted to just make sure any ingredients that were in the product holistically, not just the niacinamide, but even the sorts of powders and pigments that we're using, I wanted them to all be focused on minimizing the pores and just making your skin look flawless. Because, at the end of the day, that's the skincare benefit. That's the behind the scenes of why. But most people are putting on a powder because they want their skin to look flawless. They're putting it on because they want this blurred effect. So that's, for me, the predominant focus of how the powder is supposed to perform, because nobody's going to care about any of those long-term benefits if they don't like how the powder looks on their skin right this second. So that's where I wanted to make sure that was the predominant focus is how does it make me look today? And then we'll worry about, and I'll tell you if my skin's looking good in a couple weeks, if my skin is improving or looking better or not, being irritated, that sort of thing. So that was kind of the reason. I just wanted to make sure any ingredients that were in there were all really focused on what that goal essentially was for the product.
Just for fun, I'm going to throw this question up. You already answered it kind of, but this is my question. Whenever that happens, how many shades you decide to
we want it? We want a cream. So I have a question. Do we want a cream highlighter in a pour, like a hot pour format, or do we like her in a stick, or do we like her in a serum, like
I vote for the hot pour.
The hot pour. Okay.
When just so that we're all clear, when you say hot pour, are we talking like a liquid illuminator?
So a hot pour is essentially
like how the creams are.
It starts as a liquid. They pour it like boiling hot, and then it cools, and then
that's what I want.
So that's a hot pour.
Alicia?
Or do we like her like in a serum-y, like this is a primer, but you know what I mean? You know how you have your glow illuminators? Or do we like her in a stick?
To be
I would say hot pour is stick.
Hot pour is stick.
Hot pour is great, but we will love to see you thrive if you ever decide to include a serum like thangity thang, you know, mix it in with a foundation, put the hot pour on the cheekbones, put some more Inspire on, maybe Embrace on the hollows.
Maybe give us a couple of options. I do like
so that way she can be dropped in the foundation. She can be put on top. She's optional. She has options. Okay. You know what? Okay.
We can't be mad at any of these options, honestly.
No, they're all will be wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. Noted. And I just need you three to agree to be on my test panel. Will you test?
Oh, already there.
Yes.
Okay.
And I am here
every day. You know, whatever.
So
every day.
Whatever you need in terms of testing the glow, I am here for that.
Yes.
Because I will tell you.
Is our resident glow queen.
Say less.
Lorraine, is the hydrating primer suitable for oily skin?
So the primer is actually mainly designed for people with oily skin. And so just to kind of talk a little bit about the primer too, a lot of people have been bathing in her, and it's really designed to be just a little bit, not like crazy. And it's really good if you have oily skin because you got the niacinamide in there. If you have textured skin, it's good because it has the AHA in there. So the primer is really good if you have oily. It's actually mostly designed for combination and oily skin types. So, but then also if you have hyperpigmentation and dark spots, you can spot treat with it and just kind of use it as a serum, that sort of thing. But yes, it is mainly geared toward our oily skin types.
Amazing. And there was another question about international shipping.
Yes, I'm getting that quite a bit.
I've seen that pop up.
So I'll intertwine this with another question because you are also at Sephora. I mean, there are advantages at shopping at Sephora. There are advantages at shopping directly from LYS Beauty.
Sure.
What will be best depending on the circumstances, the pros and the cons, because shipping does play a huge factor in that, and who decides to buy from which retailer, like which website, I guess.
So international shipping, we're working on that. We will likely be able to ship to EU countries very soon. I'm hoping within the next 60 days. If sooner, I'm going to be screaming it
very soon.
I'm hoping within the next 60 days to be able to ship to our EU countries. That's where we'll probably land for now, and then we'll work on additional countries at that point. Australia is on my list. I want to get to Australia next as well. So that's the international piece coming. Right now, we just ship to US and Canada. In terms of Sephora, I would say when in doubt, purchase from Sephora. And I say that because even though margins are typically higher for brands through their own site and that sort of thing, for me, I really want to keep this amazing trajectory that we have with them embracing Black-owned brands going. And so the more we support, the more we show that these brands have the demand, the more we show the need for those products, the more we're going to get shelf space, the more we're going to have brands that represent us, the more when you walk in the store, you're going to see our foundation shades represented. So I would say that those small brands that you're starting to see, Sephora is doing a fantastic job getting behind 15% pledge. They've made a commitment. They're going to keep it, but we have as a community to do our part. We've pushed this narrative. We've pushed this change forward. We've done it through our voices. We've done it through our wallets. We cannot stop. And so when these retailers and other people embrace us, whether it be other creatives or, you know, other outlets finally start to listen to us because we've said enough is enough, listen to us. When they start listening, we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, and we have to support those brands that come in, because if we don't, then it's just going to allow this notion of we didn't offer it because they didn't buy it, because, you know what I'm saying? So support these brands. You know, it's amazing brands that are launching, like Danessa just launched, and we're launching. I know other brands are coming. You know, when in doubt, when you get a chance, support those brands with those retailers so that they keep bringing those, you know, brands in that sort of brands in their portfolio. So that's what I would say. When in doubt, purchase Sephora.
Very important to see that representation. So yes, y'all, shop through those links. Alicia has links down in the description box for you all to find the brands, because it's very important. We've talked about that a lot, like kind of in depth on our channels, and even in our lives, we've had a full-on panel about it. So everything you're saying is just reinforcing it.
Most definitely. And I appreciate this is out of your control, but unfortunately, a lot of the questions also, when are we going to get a restock at Sephora?
I know. So more stock is coming. We've shipped them more inventory. Some more inventory will be coming back on the site in the coming days and next week. And then we've got still lots of stock on our site. So if you have to get your hands on it right now, which we love, purchase from our site right now, because we know Sephora's currently out, but we are working on getting more. I just want to say, for all those watching, if anybody's purchased a product, anybody's thinking about purchasing the product, just thank you. This has been just overwhelming. The response has been just I don't want to get emotional, but it's really it's just really awesome. You know what I mean? Like when you work really hard on something and you really put your heart and soul into something, to see people support it, I mean, there's over 50 YouTube videos of people using my product. It's a lot to take in. Sorry. But it's exciting. It's just really exciting. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Oh,
and I love it. And you have been in these videos. Every video that I have watched, I see your comment. I love that. You are so involved.
I'm literally stalking every video. Yeah, I'm stalking every creative, every video. I'm like, oh, this person's going to be on my PR list next time. You know, all these things, because really, like, that support to me means everything. And I really want to support people who are supporting me. So I'm excited.
Right away. Just a few feedback pieces to share. Hot pour all day. Sarah,
okay.
Hot pour. Sarah.
But Alicia, with your dance, I mean, you kind of saw the serum too. So I will take both.
Serum and the hot pour.
We didn't even mention powder highlighter. We didn't even go there.
Look, we could do the powder too.
Like at this point, it's like, honey, just give us. How about I just launch one of each: a serum, a hot pour, a stick, a powder. Highlight Central.
And we will wear all of them on the face at the same time.
Do it.
You will be highlighted to the watts.
We'll figure it out.
In the summer.
Yes. Okay. Noted.
Oh, it's a makeup artist thing.
Yes, and I see a lot of comments. Yes. The people are here for the whatever highlighter, and they are here for the concealer. That's all I keep seeing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Exactly. Congratulations.
Yep.
Oh, order your products, and they're currently in their way all over to Mexico City for PUR.
Yay! That's awesome. I love the creativity and how people are internationally are getting the products. They're like, oh, I mailed it to somebody here, and then they're mailing it to them. Creativity is amazing to me.
Oh, yes. I think you're absolutely right. Shout out to the lip oil. Hey.
Oh, the lip oil. Balm.com.
I need to have a whole moment for the lip oil, because mine is halfway done.
At my desk right now, but it's amazing.
And here's the thing. I had a couple people DM me, and they're like, you don't have enough product in here. And I'm thinking, well, this is a 12 ml. If you look at most lip oils, they're under a 9 ml or less.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
a lot.
realize it because the package is like double wall. You don't
Right.
realize it. It's a lot of product. And I'm like, how often are you using it? And they're like, well, I am putting it on like every 5 minutes. I'm like, well, it's gonna be gone if you're putting it on every 5 minutes. But I'm the same way. This is like my
That's
fourth
how it
tube.
works, kids. You use it. That's what it's for.
That's what it's for.
Exactly.
And get one for every.
I love this so much. I love the shine.
Yay. I
The
know.
shine
Get
is
one
what
for,
gets me.
it's the shine. It's the shine for me.
Because I know.
I'm so
Go ahead,
sorry. Since we're on the topic of lips, just from how beautifully crafted the undertones of not only the foundation and the bronzers are, if you ever decided to do lipsticks, the different shades of nudes you would come, we would be very excited. I just want to
Very.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
We love a nude.
Love a good nude lipstick. Love it. I know. I want to do a whole lip moment.
And then with the shape.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. With the
And
shape, with the
a lot of
lipstick.
people were nervous about it at first, but it just works. It just works. It doesn't bother me.
It's perfect.
No, it's great. I love
it.
You came out running, and I think even though, of course, you're going to critique everything for a first launch, you have done stellar work with what you decided to come out with, how you came out with the products. I mean, I've been using your powders and your bronzer and your blush consecutively since I've gotten them. Like, it is my product of choice. And even with the foundations, I'm like, I can't stop using this brand. I'm just so excited for you. I'm glad that people are so receptive of what you've done, and your hard work is truly reflected in your product. So I'm here for LYS Beauty. I cannot wait to see what you come out with next. I'm just so excited.
Thank you.
Me too.
Exactly.
I feel so connected to you and your brand. And when I found out that you were a Delta, I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. And I had never met you. And when we got a chance to talk behind the scenes, I was like, oh my gosh, she is even more amazing than I even thought she was. So, I mean, you guys being on this platform, you guys get to see her. I act like I just know you so in depth, but I just feel like I do. I feel like I'm.
We're literally sisters.
Yes.
We're literally
oh my God, we're literally sisters. I love her, y'all. She is so sweet. She is the same. She has been the same every time. And just you see how passionate she is about her brand, and her products are so good. And she's just so authentic and genuine. And I'm like, I just wish you a world of success. And I'm so proud of you. So thank you so much for creating what you have created and doing what you've done. And I just can't wait to see what you have next in store.
We wait
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That was really sweet.
Absolutely.
Much love. Much love. Well, Alicia, our time clock. Is it time for us to end?
I know. I don't want it to end.
I know. We'll be responsible.
Like when you're in quarantine, you like girlfriend time, and I'm loving the girlfriend time.
Yes.
After the live is over, let's just take it over. Let's have the after party.
After live party,
I got my water. I'm ready.
That'll work. That'll work. So everyone, we just wanted to take the opportunity. Well, first of all, Tisha, thank you so much for carving out time to be on Behind the Beauty, being brand owner, developer, admin, shade creator. I mean, you're doing it all.
All the things.
And it really does mean a lot that you take time to connect with everyone who wants to know about your brand, who has purchased from your brand and has questions and what have you. So, and to be here with us, we just can't thank you enough.
Especially when it was so last minute, because like as soon as we could get in her DMs, we were like, "Can you come tomorrow?" She's like, "Oh." It wasn't. Yeah, but we're just so thankful.
And I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you on the DM too. It was like a couple days, and I'm like, I gotta get these DMs under control. So
Very busy.
I can relate because you're busy, booked and busy, blessed, booked and busy. I love it.
Yes, behind the beauty after dark.
I love it.
That's going to be the vibe for sure. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, thank you, Tisha, for coming on and just sharing and just basically shedding the light that is you and LYS Beauty, even more so we can better understand your philosophy and therefore just feel more connected and feel more empowered to support your cause and your message tenfold.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. We'll see.
And thank you all for joining us on another. We will see you in next month. Yes. Okay. In the next episode. Stay tuned, y'all. Follow our Instagram page for updates. It's at Behind the Beauty Series. You can get in touch with us. It's in the description box.
And we'll be back either end of April.
Love y'all.
We'll be back.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.